and welcome to the Scratticus Academy. We are back with some more werewolfy goodness. So before we go around and say hello to all these lovely faces here, please check out the links that are coming up in chat now. That includes the Twitter. If you want to come and play in this game or one of our other viewer games, go drop Scrat a DM on Twitter and we'll get you on the list. If you've missed out on anything so far, you can head over to YouTube and everything is in a playlist for you to binge watch, catch up, whatever it is you want to do. This game also has its own channel in the Discord. We would love to hear what you think about it and all of the wonderful characters from it as well. A huge thank you to our wonderful sponsors in the form of Hero Forge. They smashed their Kickstarter. They do the coloured minis. They're amazing, and we're doing some more things with them very soon, which I'm excited about, so keep your eyes open for that. Also, the wonderful Mage Hand Press. You may have seen us run Dark Matter, which is effectively D&D and space smushed together, which in my opinion is a wonderful thing. You can also see one of our other viewer games is their Fae Folio over on a Thursday. No, that's a lie. On a Wednesday. You can go check it out on Wednesday if you want to give that a go as well. We also have the wonderful Deck of Many with the Deck of Many Things, the magic moving spell cards, and also the very wholesome Humblewood, where you all play sort of woodland critters and go on an adventure as well. And last but certainly not least, our newest sponsor in the form of Dungeon Fog. They help you create your world maps and the notes to go alongside them. So if you change something in your world map, they change it in the notes for you. It's really good for helping campaign building and world building. It's some really fab stuff, so go check that out as well. Otherwise, we're gonna go around now and everyone say hi, where we can find you on the interwebs, and we will start with the lovely Trooper. Oh, hi.
Hi, I'm Trooper SJP, and you can find me at the Twitch, which is where we are, but at Trooper SJP, not at Scratticus, because if you went to Scratticus, you would find me here too right now. Weird. Or Academic Foxhole on Twitter. So I mean, come to Scratticus or Trooper SJP, whatever. But right now, just stay at Scratticus.
Wonderful, thank you. And then we are going to hop down to say hello to Zan. Oh, hi.
Hello, yeah, I'm Zan, and you can catch me on Twitter at InsanityTTRPG or at my website, insanitygaming.com.
Thank you. And then we're going to hop over and say hi to Sophie. Hi.
Hello. I'm Sophie Faye, Faye_Sophie on Twitter and Instagram, or also First Among Faye. Super excited to be here, ready to be the goth I always know I am.
Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you. I'm Alice, or White Rabbit Pick on Twitter. That's where you can find me. Please check out my links coming up in the chat. That includes the Patreon. I am a photographer as well as a DM player and on behalf of the Academy. And also I have 3 more upcoming campaigns coming to different channels very soon. So keep an eye out for that. Otherwise, I'm going to hand over to a very lovely Alpha. Oh, hi.
Oh, hi. Or, as I always say, oh, welcome, everybody, to this week's session of In the Light of the Moon. I am Kai Gaston. I'm your alpha for this evening. I love this game so much. You can find me on the Twitter sphere at Crit Charisma. I live here. This is where I live. This is my home. I will never leave. So that's enough about me. You guys don't come here to see me. You guys come here for, like, awesome werewolfy stuff. We unfortunately don't have our amazing Lily tonight. She is taking some mental health time for herself during this time. And we advise everybody else to as well. Whatever you need, don't be afraid to take a step back and take care of yourselves. We miss her so much. We hope we get her back soon. I love her. Awoo, we miss you. Well, I guess then we'll just kind of do a quick recap of what happened on our last episode. Last week, the group continued their investigation into the Arachne invasion. The feeling that the events that transpired in the hospital previously were not isolated or solely in the past. We met 2 other members of the town, Zillow, newly employed at the Antiques and Oddities shop, run by dear old Gretchen, who just doesn't have the same strength as she used to. The shop sits above a used bookstore that we lovingly named Triple B's because I can't remember what the 3 B's stood for, run by the lovely Alexa. Meanwhile, our werewolf duo, young Reese and Dr. Pan Edwards, share a stack of pancakes over at Jay's Diner, their usual haunt and hangout, Jay being the town's current sitting alpha. Going over the events of the past couple of days, Pan's encounters with the Arachnes, Reese's experience in their hometown facing their bullies in court. The duo, after finishing breakfast and practicing how to naturally smile, in Reese's case, set out to the nearby bookstore to do some research. Alexa, upon opening her shop, the Triple B's, that morning, and falling into the comforting pattern of the monotony of the daily tasks, their mind was overcome by a vision of a growing danger in the town. That has occurred and will occur again. Her thoughts were interrupted by approaching footsteps of Zillow on a special delivery from Gretchen with some new used books for sale. During their talks and readings, the group discovered a corrupted kid's story depicting a crude ritual taking place when the sun is highest in the sky, bringing forth a spider-like entity. Zillow, having a sensitivity to the supernatural around her, fell into a trance and followed a path to the original summoning location of the Arachne that previously attacked the hospital. What the group found was 3 openings in the earth surrounding a broken stone with carvings in it. A quick pick and a shoot text out to a previous ally, Agent Emerald of the Menagerie, revealed a new cult on their horizon, the Chaos Bringers. Some information was exchanged, and the understanding that their original summoning was a failure, and that it will happen again because chaos must reign. But the only way to bring down a Chaos Bringer, which is a corrupted person, is to kill the half of the demon that lived inside of it. Until that demon is ridded from its body was going to be invulnerable to anything that the pack or its now mundane civilians could do. Agent Emerald sent along a voice message of what appeared to be an exorcism in hopes that it would help. Pan and the other 3 set off towards the second location that Alexa had her vision of beforehand. To make things a little bit more efficient, Reese transformed into her werewolf self and had the 2 civilians right atop her like a warg into battle as they arrived just as the ritual was taking place. Alexa's quick thinking grabbed the phone from Pan before she also transformed, attacking the Arachnes now springing from the ground, and began playing the voice message, disrupting the ritual, allowing the group to dispense the 3 Arachnes and the cultist with an interesting use of Purell hand sanitizer and a lighter. And that's where we left off. Reese has taken some time for themselves to heal and recruit from the events of the past week. Pan has stopped by the local oddity tea shop owned by Ezra. They are having a book reading today of Cal Ridley's horror novel. And I believe Malik is also in for some refreshments and perhaps a fan of the horror series as well. Pan, was there anything that you wanted to take care of before we begin today's session?
No, I think Pan just looks pretty, like she looks a little bit battered, not too bad. She's healing a little bit, so she looks awkward as she sits in this tea shop. If they do like toast or tea cake, she's also ordering stuff like that as well. But she's in her usual really ugly homemade knit sweater, like her jeans, her heavy boots, and she looks a bit battered, but she looks very happy with herself. She's got her tea, she's got her food, and there's someone reading a book in here, so she's kind of happy about that.
What is your harm level at the moment? The last we left off, it was at 3.
I'm currently on 1 at the moment. So like she looks not battered. It's more that she's healed up, but also she's very, being a doctor, she's over the top making sure, no, there will be no infections. No, we're going to change this now. I know we're going to, she's, yeah.
I gotcha. And Ezra, why don't you walk us through the copper? What does Ezra look like, and what do you think the inside of the copper would look like?
Oh well, I actually would love to. So the copper gets its name from all of the copper aeropresses that are up and bubbling right now, getting everyone their fine exotic teas, and you see a few cases of some naturally occurring gemstones that were sourced from the local area, a few skulls, a few knickknacks, oddities, some books on the wall ranging from chess and checker strategies to some of the early works of Aleister Crowley. Really something here for everybody. And behind the counter, taking a big old whiff of a dark green, slightly faded can of tea, you see an older gentleman, probably in his early 50s, long bushy gray beard, and what was probably once a really nice ponytail, now kind of resolved to just a silver horseshoe, kind of just a little strand on the back of his neck. And he looks content. Got a little bit of the gut that comes with middle age, but looks like he's got deep smile lines on his face, and he looks like he's where he belongs.
Excellent. And Malik, what is Malik up to right now in the copper? You are muted, my love.
I always mute when I'm just not talking, just in case, I don't know, like a truck or something or whatever.
We
drops
appreciate
by.
you. We appreciate you.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm just I'm sort of dark skinned. I've got my hair kind of short in the sides and back, and I've kind of got a little bit of a flat top, but sort of little micro braids, and I've got a little cool, little design on the side of my head. It was kind of a little lightning bolt, because I'm kind of cool that way. And I'm 17, but whatever, doesn't matter. It's cool. I'm wearing the cap, my baseball cap for the Silver Hollow. What's their mascot? The Timberwolves.
Gotta be the Timberwolves. Come on.
Yeah. So the Silver Hollow Timberwolves. I'm wearing my hat, and I'm wearing my t-shirt and my sweats, because just came out of practice, and I don't know, whatever. But I hear there's an author who's here that I may have read one or all of their books or something, but but it's cool, whatever, I don't care. But I don't know if the author I don't know, sign one of the books. I actually have the first one I ever got, when I was 13. I probably should have been reading horror books when I was 13, but I was super mature for my age, and if the author were going to sign it, that would be cool.
I love it. I guess speaking of that author, Cal, why don't you go ahead and describe yourself and a little brief overview of the genre of the books that you write? What brought you into the copper today?
Just might have written a couple books. Maybe you might have heard of them. The Bloodsucker Chronicles. Completely real. Definitely real.
Absolutely.
3-part series, definitely adapted by a couple Hollywood names. Just a couple. Just a few. We're quite popular with the teenage demographic, but I'm really, branching out because my books really appeal to everyone. Cal Ridley is about 30-something, but please don't ever tell them that, because they're trying to go for perpetually 25. An androgynous appearance, piercing eyes, and punk goth clothing that used to be designer, or maybe was, maybe wasn't. We might have switched a couple tags, but that's perfectly fine. And as you know, the book signings, just hand over a little bit of money, if just a little. We're going through tough times here for the creative mind.
The economy's tough at the moment.
The economy's a little tough for punk rock goth writers.
And just because I always love asking this question, Pan, what kind of tea are we drinking today? Do we have a scone?
We are currently drinking gunpowder green tea,
Mm-hmm.
and she brews it for far too long on the first time, so you see her sort of drink it and make a weird face at first. And I don't know, Ezra, what kind of like food do you serve here? Is it like cake? Is it like toast? Is it
It's well this time of year the specialty is wild mushrooms, chanterelles to be precise, and my family's own hash brown recipe.
okay? Both Alice and Pan are very happy. Right
I'm really
now.
excited. Except for I'm not a mushroom fan, but you had me at hash browns.
Yeah, she kind of like orders probably double what you're used to, and she's just sat there slowly working her way through it, drinking the tea, going back to eating. Sort of, you can see her obviously listening to the book reading, going, huh, and going back while she's eating. Every now and then checking her phone to see if Reese messages, puts it away again. But she's just quite happy and content, eating, drinking away, and listening to this book.
Excellent. I guess before we go too far, I know that Cal, you are a spooky.
Mhm.
Would you like to roll for a premonition? You're allowed to roll for one at the beginning of every game to see if anything hits you. Go ahead, and I believe it is a weird roll. As to roll two 6-sided die, add your weird modifier, and let me know what that number is.
It is 14.
14. Ooh, hella success. Cool. So you're about to get up and kind of start reading one of the, more interesting action-packed chapters. The one that really grabs the reader. And everything kind of falls silent for you. As you suddenly see a vision appear, a person appear. And it spells words are hard. I'm coming down from 4 shots of espresso, so everybody's gonna have to bear with me a little bit. You have a vision of an entity inside the town of Silver Hollow, and you see it almost as if you're seeing through their eyes as it stalks the back alleys of Silver Hollow in trying to remain hidden. You see it reach for like some rotten meat out of a garbage can behind a grocery store, and it's just devouring it. And you can smell it in your nostrils as it kind of spits out half of it as if it didn't really like what it was ingesting. And it looks around, and you feel your body almost moving like they're moving as it sniffs the air. And you see in the distance a person walking by. As they walk by a brick, and they scrape their arm a little bit, and the blood trickles down ever so slightly, and it freezes. And you feel your body just rush with a speed that's unlike anything you've ever felt. And the next thing you know, you have this person in your grasp, and that person is being eaten. And it's very overwhelming for you at this moment. And once that is done, and your eyesight, you try to turn away, you get the sense that you feel hunger inside of you that just almost feels like you haven't eaten in days, and it feels like your stomach itself is trying to just feed off of you, and you are ingesting this person, this being, and your hunger is just growing. And you see a group of people in the distance, and your vision goes dark, and you're back in the copper.
I'm sorry. Is there a chair? Can we take a break, please, from the reading?
Yeah, sure. No problem. Hey, everybody, we're gonna take a a quick 10. Now's a perfect chance to get those drinks refilled. And Ezra will turn on some like a big band cover of some slightly dated pop music to fill the silence, and get her a chair and a nice cup of like a guava infused Earl Grey,
or like a ginger tea to help soothe the stomach.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
As you do this, and as you kind of turn to look at everybody, it's dead quiet. And you keep looking, and so you think maybe people are just trying to like be very quiet to listen, but they're not moving. They're just frozen. But not everybody's frozen. You're not frozen. You haven't been affected. And Cal, you've just come out of your vision, and you're moving. And Pan, you're sipping your tea going, is this one of those flash mob things where everybody is just staying put? And Malik, you're chilling out, not understanding why you yourself has been singled out, when from behind you a hand kind of just gently places its hand on your shoulder. As
I probably
you
didn't realize that everybody else was like frozen,
right?
And then I was like, because sometimes I'm not paying attention, you know. I was like in my thoughts, you know. Sometimes you like think about everything, but then you're like think about nothing, you know.
You're just letting your mind wander. You're just kind of, you know, enjoying it.
Yeah.
And the hand, you all see it as it drapes over Malik's shoulder, as it just starts as just a hand, and almost like an invisible field, an entity steps through. And what you see before you is a very tall, very handsome male figure. He has these piercing, like light blue eyes, like almost like husky blue eyes, that just really make you uncomfortable. He has long dark hair that falls around his shoulders. He's wearing normal clothes, a pair of really fitted dark blue jeans, some black leather boots, like a long sleeve black shirt with a like one of those old, like the Levi fur lined denim jackets. And he kind of steps through and just is kind of using Malik almost as a shield, and just looks at all of you. I have to say, I was really looking forward to the reading. I hate to interrupt. And we'll look over at you, Pan. Don't worry, little wolf. I come in peace. The name is Marius, and judging by the look on your face, you might have a little inkling as to why I'm here. I need your help. It's a little problem of mine. Seems that I have a spawn out there who's kind of fallen out of my control and kind of spilled into your neighborhood, and I'm hoping for some assistance. He kind of squeezes Malik's shoulder a little bit more.
Yo, my dude, you look way too young to have like a spawn already.
Honey, I'm what you can call timeless. I've been around.
Malik looks to Dr. Pan because Malik knows there's a thing in town and Dr. Pan would know about things. Who's like just looking to Pan to see how I'm supposed to react to this situation. Like, am I supposed to be weirded out? Is this normal? Because I've not had this happen to me before, but like I'm looking to one of the leaders of the community to tell me how I'm supposed to feel.
Pan was starting to get up to go towards Cal, and then at that point she's seen this happen. You can hear her like slurp the last of her tea and sort of take a bite of the hash brown as she's standing up. She's like, excuse me, can you let go of that boy, please? Like now?
It would make me feel a little bit comfortable, but I guess if...
She's walking towards it, like putting the hash brown down, putting the coffee cup down, and like holding her hand out to Malik. They're like, no, I really insist.
If you promise to behave, I'll let him go. If we can just have a conversation.
We can when he's gone.
And he'll just... and
Okay.
step back.
Just
His
gonna
hands
get up,
up.
stand over here. I'm just gonna, it's cool. And Malik is just gonna go and like stand right behind Dr. Pan, because like he's not afraid or anything, you know,
Mhm.
but you know, he's just gonna stand behind the doctor. That's all. Just,
She's holding her cup of tea still. I want to just point out it's still there as she's talking.
Absolutely. It looks to all of you.
Is this entirely normal? Does everyone see the attractive figure right now? Does this happen every week? Was there another reading scheduled that I didn't know about?
Not every week, and I don't think it's where you think it is. And she sort of pauses. So, Mr. What did you say your name was?
Marius.
Marius. Got a second name?
Just Marius.
Okay, just Marius. We're going to, your spawn is out and about, like, hitting the town, or,
Well, I have a love child, I guess is what you can say, and we had a pretty good understanding, and I had them under control, and by under control, I mean I had them locked away.
oh,
They didn't like it very much.
yeah.
Cowards.
yeah, no, I don't think I would either.
But it was for the protection of all mankind. See, the thing is that they have a bit of a hunger. He'll look over to Cal, as he can see the remnants of the premonition in your eyes. As I feel you may have an intimate understanding. They have a hunger that just can't be filled. And they'll just go through and decimate what's in their path, especially entities of some form of power by nature. It's probably why it was drawn here. Normally we're on opposite sides, but I acknowledged that I might be a little out of my depth to bring him in. I could use a little bit of help.
Pan's sort of sipping her tea again, isn't it? This is what happens when you don't give kids structure. Okay, this is what happens when you lock them away and you don't give them boundaries. And I don't mean physical boundaries. So where is this kid?
I wouldn't
This
say
spawn?
he
Does
was.
he have a name?
He's not exactly a child. He's at least 50 by now.
Dude, that's old.
Excuse me.
It's old.
And again, Pan gives him a look, but I don't think he knows that she's like 180 years old because she looks 25. He's like, yeah.
For the first time,
Respect your elders.
Ezra kind of just moves his head over and stops, goes back to his tea.
I don't know exactly where he is. I know that if left unchecked, he will move on from the small prey that he's been going after.
Small prey, as in.
Oh, I mean, it starts with whatever meat they
Squirrels.
can get their hands on. It could be trash. It could be squirrels, yes. Could be cats. But eventually, he will get a taste for something else. And that taste will be insatiable.
Have you considered vegetarian options?
Ah, yes. It was called Chains and Four Walls.
Is that a movie?
No wonder they're angry.
Four
Okay.
Chains and Four Walls or something? Like, is that like one of those rom-coms or something?
I feel like I wrote a book on that.
I feel like you did, and it was quite good.
Oh, it really was
Oh,
really
thanks.
great.
Ugh,
Not, yeah.
thank you. Thank you.
He kind of runs his fingers through his hair. Listen, the only thing is that a spawn of mine, they're kind of difficult to kill. And, their mother was equally powerful. The thing is that there's only specific things that we can do, and it involves more than just myself, and I'm a little low on allies. We need to lure it someplace that it's going to weaken it, but killing it can be difficult. They almost have to be sacrificed in a way.
But dude, we've just totally we have escalated from help me find my little kid to we've got to murder somebody. It seems like a lot.
There's not really trapping him once he's out and once he gets a taste of it. Getting him back in the box I was able to get him back in there when he was a little younger, a little weaker, hadn't had a taste yet, but now he's going to be too powerful to capture, and at this point it's just safer for both sides if they no longer live.
Pan sort of drains her mug. Is question 1, you said there's a mother. Are we expecting her to make a surprise visit?
No, unfortunately, she was taken care of from your kind long ago.
2, how do we lure it? And 3, how the hell do we kill it? You seem to know a lot of things about this.
Well, I think we should probably have a discussion not here. I can't keep them frozen forever. I'll tell you a name. The entity that, for lack of a better word, is my son, is known as a Rougarou. But I guess a hybrid you could call. The mother was a Rougarou, and I myself am not, and so they're something else, something unknown. But feel free to look up whatever you need on a Rougarou. I don't know what information you have. And let's meet someplace a little bit more private. Yes?
My dude, I've got a question. So, I have read a number of books in the Bloodsucker Chronicles, etc. So I kind of know about these things.
Of course.
So you're like a vampire, maybe?
Oh, don't insult me. As his hand shines in the light of day. I'm no vampire. I'm much, much older than that.
You must have a great plastic surgeon.
In a way.
If you're like this old and all of that, and also you read books and everything, why can't you just say hey son, knock it off and let's go? Can you fly, or do you have you've got powers?
Pan's leaning back to look at him whilst he's talking to this person.
And he's just kind of behind you a little bit, just
Yeah.
Let's say me and the old kid probably are on the best of terms.
Oh yeah.
And I don't really want my friends to know exactly what I've been getting up to. Hence I came to you. Do you think I would have come to you, band of goody two-shoes and weirdos, on my own if I had other options?
Are you coming to us because you can't do it?
I'm coming to you for some help. And yes, I can't do it on my own.
Right. Who are your friends?
That's a conversation for another time.
Like this one?
Yes.
So where are we meeting?
Let's meet... Let's meet at the edge of town. Say, dusk?
Oh, the dusk books were really good, but I just want to ask, which one is more accurate to vampires? The Bloodsucker Chronicles or the Dusk trilogy? Or was it a quadrilogy, the one with the glittering and the sunlight? Which one was more accurate? Because I feel like it's the Bloodsucker Chronicles, but I don't know. And I feel like you know.
Well, it helps when the author probably has a little bit more intimate understanding of the world around them. But even there's some poetic license in those books.
So I'm right, and it's not glittering in the sun. It's more like the vampire Lestrade. Yeah? Oh. All right.
I'll see you at dusk. And with a wave of his hand, he passes through, and the cacophony of everybody moving and talking comes back into the forefront.
Pan immediately turns around to Mal and goes, "Did you learn all about vampires from those books?"
Yeah. Yes, I did. Okay, look, don't say anything and don't look. Don't look. And like is gesturing just gesturing to Cal. Don't look at them. Don't look at them. But they wrote one of the most amazing romances in the middle of the Bloodsucker Chronicles. And if you just read them, you will know everything about the supernatural, specifically vampires.
Specifically about, do they cover, just out of interest, do they like cover werewolves at all? Or?
No, not as much, but there were witches in there. And so Tiffany and was like in love like with Mistress Vahalia, but then
Wait, which one's the vampire?
Oh, Mistress Vahalia, and Tiffany is a witch. But here's the thing, I don't know what happened with their romance because in the last book, Mistress Vahalia went missing and there was a vote, and I just sort of want them to tell me what's gonna happen, but I don't know how to ask. And I feel like you're one of the most important people in the town, and maybe you could ask them for me.
You want me to ask them who got on a vote? Like, Pan sounds genuinely interested, but she's never read these books. She's just discovering them.
Just ask in passing, maybe really cool, like what happens to Mistress Vahalia in the
She's
next
writing
book?
on her hand, like, Mistress Vahalia?
With a V. Like
Vahalia,
Yep,
like
yep.
Vahalia. Okay.
She's this great warrior woman and she's super cool, but she's like also super old, but she knows stuff and she has like great outfits.
And she got on the boat.
Right. And then just you know what's gonna happen in the next book.
Next book. I got this. Give me a second. And
Okay.
she walks over, like strips up, sort of straightens her shoulders out a little bit. Is it excuse me, Miss was it Cal? Are you feeling okay now?
Yeah, we're doing better, especially with that amazing tea.
Yeah. So like looks back at Malik because he's like, that kid over there really wants to know what happens in your next book, and Mistress Valhalla gets on a boat, and what happens to them?
Okay. So I can't give out everything. Trade secrets, you understand. But I can say a
Obviously.
couple words. Spaceship. Beach. Let's see. Curse. Undying. And anti-immortality.
Anti-immortality.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I might be back with more in just a minute. Thank you. And sort of walks over to Malik, hand out, like, it's like, I could get you keywords, but I couldn't get you exact. But, you know, use your imagination. We're talking spaceship, beach, curse, undying, I smudged it. Like, but it's, hang on. It's like an anti...
Disestablished
I think it says anti-immorality.
The immorality. Oh, that must be like the Inquisition out to get them. So,
I mean, that's technically been done, but you know, you never know. You never know.
thanks, Doc. There's
Okay.
a reason why like you stand for everything that's good. Just because you get us information. Oh.
I'm also a medical professional. I care about your well-being. So next time one of those things comes through, please don't ask them certain things again.
And Ezra is quietly putting down his 4th cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
He has made and consumed 2 cups during all this and is just quietly watching.
Does it have caffeine in it?
Oh, heavily. He can see sound right now.
See sound. See sound and taste colors.
Oh yeah. He is he's vibrating.
Or is it see sound and hear colors? That's what it is.
It's something.
Excellent. Sorry about that. I have been drinking a lot of water to combat the amount of caffeine I've drank today. So everything returns to normal inside, and you've had your interaction with Marius. I would say that since it is a weekday, so it's school day, so I would say it's probably about 4 o'clock. Dusk is going to be around 7:30. So you do have a few hours to burn however you would like. When you were having your premonition, Cal, it was dark. It was dark outside. So you know that your premonition, especially with the 14, is going to be going on later tonight. And you know that that is definitely something that will happen if not interfered with. So with that information in mind and your fates intertwined, what would the 4 of you like to do next?
I think Pan will either go back to the her home or the surgery, and after everything that's happened over the last few days, is just her satchel that she carries with her is she's just putting all of her supplies in it.
Okay.
She even has like Purell because like she always just thinks like, you know, in case of Reese.
Don't leave the
starts
house without
putting
it.
in.
Purell. Yep.
Exactly. And
Before she even leaves, he's like, where are you gonna go? What are you doing? I mean, we're
I'm going back to my house to get supplies.
but what are we supposed to do?
Are you two planning on hanging around for a little while? If you are, dinner's on the house.
Oh,
Ooh.
I'm
I'll
going
eat.
right back, and she literally sprints to come, and she is in and out of her house in no time at all. Even if you've closed the shop, she's then like rapping on the window to come back in.
Okay.
When you come back, there's 4 plates of like roasted garlic, vegetables, and some of the venison that somebody got from earlier in the spring, made into a real nice burger patty with some local like homemade pickles.
Jeez. I'm hungry. I'm
Han
so hungry.
is like so happy right now.
Yeah.
Like
They're all sat around the table, and there's 1 bottle of Pepsi and a bottle of wine.
The necessities.
I'll just
Yeah.
take the bottle of wine and just.
Pan's like, oh, Pepsi. Like, looks like she drinks wine. She's not doing.
Was there anything else? Anything you would like to do during the 3 hours? Pan, you're getting supplies.
She's kind of doing that awkward thing after she's eaten where she then takes everything out of the bag again and lines it up in order so she knows everything is right. All the bandages are pulled tight so none of them unravel. Like, she's very particular about everything.
Okay.
I just slide my first edition of the first Bloodsucker Chronicle book just closer to Cal. Just you know, just sliding it over there.
Oh, my first edition. I see you're a fan. Avid reader?
You know, whatever. I read stuff, whatever, sometimes. Whatever.
Pan's behind him going,
Just out of curiosity, what did you think of the Dusk series?
Well, I have this argument with my older brother who thinks the Dusk series is more realistic than the Bloodsucker Chronicles, but that is not even true because their vampires can have children, and everybody knows the undead can't have children unless it's like a supernatural thing like in your book series. Like, for example, in chapter 17 of book 3, when there was that whole moment when Tiffany and Mistress Valhalla, they were like dancing under the moon, and then like because of their love, then Lestrande was pregnant. And like nobody knows how that happened to them, but it was because of like the real I think like some people said they don't know and they thought it was a plot hole, but I clearly think that it was foreshadowed when you talked about the Book of Prophecies in book 1, chapter 17.
And the interstellar like plot angle, that wasn't too much.
Oh, it makes so much sense, right?
With the cyborgs, yes.
Yes, because cyborgs,
I like how you think,
can't be eaten by vampires. They're the perfect ones.
Like Pan is watching this.
I'm gonna sign this book. Here you go. You keep reading. You're going places with a mind like that. Just, you understand.
There's also some books here on the right hand path and chaos magic if you wanted to get a little bit of more classical nonfiction in your repertoire there too, not to dissuade you from reading for pleasure.
Mr. Jameson, I don't know if you noticed, but some weird kind of mystical alien walked through the sky thing and just told me, I think the thing that we were supposed to take away from that whole experience was that vampires are way more like they are in the Bloodsucker Chronicles than they are in the Dusk Chronicles. And that person being is like over 1,000 years old and would totally know that these books are basically real. Also, that was pretty weird.
Ezra just kind of shakes his head a little bit and pulls out a hip flask.
We had like a weird thing happen, right?
A little downer.
I'm off, like Pan's finished laying everything out, put it back in. She was listening to the conversation, but has gone to like, if there's a book reading, there's normally like the table with all the books, the copies of the book. She's sort of going over and like trying to discreetly take one to see what it's all about, and is there like trying to read at least the first few chapters.
Okay, what supplies outside of Purell did you get? Because I'm very curious to see.
She's got bandages. She has water. Because she always has a bottle of fresh water. Normally like 2 big ones. Like her bag's quite heavy. She's got scissors. She's got like, it's like a standard first aid kit.
Okay.
There's nothing like too surgical or anything in here. She's got her notebook, and she has, as I said, water. And there is a flask of tea in there, but that's like for in case anything else happens. Did you
want to do I'm debating whether to ask you this, because if you don't think about it, then I don't want you to think about it. You were given some information about kind of what the entity you're chasing after. Was there anything you wanted to research before dusk?
Can I call, I always forget his name, I feel so awful every time I forget the name.
Malkin?
That's it. I always want to call him Malcolm, not Malkin.
Malkin?
Yeah, I think she probably
God, I'm gonna have to try and do a Scottish accent. All right.
She'd send a message to Malkin.
Okay.
And to Agent Emerald, both of them.
Okay.
And it would be how Pan normally does a text, a full account of every single detail that happened. Like too much, and unnecessary detail as well. It takes up actually 3 text messages because they have to cut you off with how long it is. Yep. But she goes into great detail because she believes.
Or you have the old school phone where it sends it in like 5 different bits, and it takes like 15 minutes for the 5th bit to finally, and it sends it all out of order.
That's exactly what. But she's got one of those push-up phones.
Okay.
As well. Reese hates it.
Well, Agent Emerald doesn't know anything. He says that if you find it, send him samples. Okay. Malkin is able to find a little bit of information on it. I roll for them because I don't ever give you guys free shit. Agent Emerald rolled a 3, so but Malkin rolled an 8. So Malkin is able to find a little bit of information. He lets you know that from his. Okay, we're gonna try and do this. from his experience, Rougarous are very rare, and they haven't been seen in like a century. But they're these corrupted beings who don't, who are like human in nature, but they become like this cannibalistic, and that their hunger can never be, satiated, and that that the only way to kill them is to essentially burn them in like a sacred place. He says that the term itself is like, it's called immolation. Outside of that, like, I don't really have that much information. We don't know where they come from or why one would be here, but that's about as much as I've been able to find on it.
And she's sort of like, she's reading her phone like this for a moment and turns back to the group. So, do we know of any sacred places around here? And I don't mean like a church, maybe a church, but like anything. But if there was anywhere other than a church, I don't want to make a mess.
What do you have in mind?
And she sort of pushes the phone towards Ezra. It's like, basically we're dealing with a very angry cannibal.
Cannibal?
Like an actual cannibal?
Shia LaBeouf?
I'm just asking.
Kind of, yeah. So we should probably stay out of the woods.
Or we should try grocery stores.
Ezra's just gonna sigh really, really deeply and go get a bottle of what looks to be green oil, and he'll smear it on his left arm.
Okay.
His arm is pretty dotted in thick scars and tattoos. Mm-hmm. And as he rubs the oil on, most of the tattoos fade, but there's a little bit of what looks like the Ring Lord's Elvish script spiraling down it, and the black ink on that darkens as he takes a small tincture of maybe like 1 or 2 fluid ounces and of this jet black liquid, and sticks it in his breast pocket.
Are you trying to cast something?
He's preparing his foci.
Oh, perfect. Okay. As for sacred, were you going to ask Malkin anything about it or no?
Sorry, my cat is attacking me.
I was like, is the cat getting you? Oh God, that's why I own a dog.
I think she would ask, be like, anywhere like church or anywhere else in particular. The only reason is because she knows how messy everything has been beforehand, and she's like, don't upset.
What about the football stadium?
Would I know anywhere that I maybe have done some rituals in the woods that might qualify?
Why don't you, just for poops and ha-has, because I like this, why don't you just roll me a sharp roll?
Coming sharp. All right, let me double check what my sharp rating was.
I play Monster of the Week fast and loose, y'all.
Hey, no worries. All right, sharp is +1. So 8.
Okay. You would know that, and probably Malkin would also say that, by the way, best Scottish accent that I've ever done in my entire life. Super excited about that. Malkin would even tell you that when it comes to Silver Hollow, when you think of the word sacred, it never really corresponds to a church. There are churches here for those who do have that type of faith or belief system. But when it comes to sacred, the land itself is sacred. Silver Hollow being a town that sits on essentially like a weak point between this world and other worlds. So sacred tends to be almost like corresponding to like a ley line, or to places that are imbued power. So you would know that the city itself is kind of built on a circle, and that there are areas that almost like the rings on a tree that these lines tend to like start in the middle, go out, and so forth, and that those lines themselves can be considered a sacred connection to the ley lines that reside within the town. You know that there are locations in the woods, especially locations that are nearby streams and running water. Running water tends to feed that energy as well. Or there could be some further closer to the mountains and the mineral deposits there that tend to draw from that energy as well. But you probably have found some form of solace, especially in the woods closer to the lakes on the outskirts of town, that are sacred to you just because they're quieter. So
what about the sports stadium?
The sports stadium. It does back up to another set of woods. It may be sacred to you.
Because, you know.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes, if you build it, they will come. But as a they probably didn't build it on a ley line because they didn't want to obviously cheat. So it is though sacred to you, mundane in nature.
It's fitting.
Can I grab some pieces of amethyst rose quartz?
Okay.
And try to give them a quick enchantment, just to thin out the ley line, just thin out the veil between, I guess, our world and theirs.
Okay. Are
Make things a
you
little easier.
Attempting to cast forensic divination?
Yeah. Let's run forensic divination on that.
Okay. I just have your spells down here, and I was like,
yeah.
You let me know what you're doing and go for it.
Yeah, forensic divination.
We'll say probably at this point you've cleared out the book reading and probably shut down for the evening.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely the venison doesn't come out when the customers are here.
No, they can't know just how good the food can be. This is only for special people.
So this is sharp, right?
Let's see, forensic divination, when you successfully investigate a mystery. Correct. So you would be rolling another sharp roll for me.
Great. So that will be +1.
Yep.
Oh.
What do we get?
Got a 4.
4. That is a failure. Go ahead and mark experience on your sheet, though. For every failed roll, any roll that is a 6 or below, you mark experience on your playbook. The more failures you make, the more you learn how not to do things, and your character will level up at 5. So you are sitting in your shop, and you set up a space for yourself to try and reach beyond the veil to try and see if there's anything else that you can glean. And unfortunately, we'll say that the remnants of the energy of Marius tends to block your way from that.
Start to get a bit of a splitting headache, and I smell what's that smell? It's almost sulfur.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just make another cup of tea to kind of clear my head.
Sounds good.
Mr. Jameson, what were you doing? It looks cool.
Well, tell you what. Instead of answering you directly, why don't you read some of those books and you ask me what you think I was doing, and I'll tell you yes or no, honestly.
That was such a parent response. What does this mean? I don't know. Why don't you go look it up in the dictionary?
Google it.
Just show my age by look it up in the dictionary.
Find the Encyclopedia Britannica.
Yep. That's right.
I have that.
Cal, what are you doing during all of this? Is there anything you wanted to do? It doesn't have to be anything. Just wanted to make sure that you had a moment.
Could I potentially just be looking through some of the books on town history? Because I am doing research for another book.
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah, you're looking through the town history. You get the sense that probably the town history that's going to be here is going to probably be a little bit more mundane than what you could get down at the secret part of the library, as they do understand that there are travelers that are not part of the town that come through that shouldn't always be privy to the going-ons in the town, because the town's main concern is protecting the pack, and the pack's main concern is protecting the town. So you'll get a sense that it was created by somebody 250 to 300 years ago, that since then it has blossomed and bloomed. The town has grown. It has a very unique connection, and kind of an interesting history of the people who are in it. But it hints that there might be something paranormal happening, but only because you yourself understand the ongoings of the supernatural world. But to the lay person who's just coming in and getting a basic history of the town, it's just like, oh, this is nice. Oh, they really are very cooperative and harmonious here. But outside of that, you're not really getting a sense of geographically anything specific that has any meaning. But it is a very interesting read.
Is there a medical professional or paranormal medical professional I could perhaps call if I were to have, say, visions?
That you personally know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was like, for some reason. Do you? You tell me.
I think
if that is something that you feel that you would have somebody that you would talk to about this, or is it something that you would not want to share for fear of any type of judgment? But I will go with you on either one.
I think I might. We're good. We're fine. We're all
Are you
right.
sure?
We're doing okay. We're reading. We love reading in this house. We love academics. We're doing great.
You could, if you feel that your character has somebody that they reach out to talk to about this, that I might understand it, I'll give it to you.
No, we're good.
All right. You don't get anything
kind of
then.
near Cal Ridley, just near them.
You're just near them,
but like not in an obvious way.
Are you trying to take surreptitious selfies?
Yeah, maybe one or two, but just I'm just checking my phone, just
checking.
I've got my sports bag with me, so I don't need to get anything, but also I'm kind of weirded out because this stuff happened, so I'm just I'm gonna be in a room with people who seem safe, but
Okay.
I'm cool about it,
All right. And you're probably checking up on the Cal Ridley fan sites.
Yep. I'm tweeting a little bit. I just want to check up what's going on with Cal Ridley, and I'm my research is social media research. That's what I'm doing. But I'm not I'm not consciously researching. It's I'm not ooh, I'm gonna research a mystery. It's they said Rougarou. Kind of sounds like a pastry, but probably not. So I'm just
Rhubarb.
Rhubarb. Is it? So I'm actually doing research, but I don't realize that I'm doing research. I'm just kind of noodling on the internet, taking surreptitious selfies. And
do you have that thing where it's you randomly find something?
No, because I decided to get kidnapped instead.
You got it. Okay. I was just making sure because I was I might make you roll for something random. Kidnapped instead. We'll see about that.
I might not get kidnapped.
You might not. Is there anything else during this time before dusk hits and you go and meet Marius on the edge of town?
I'll grab a homemade rosary, something
homemade
that
rosary.
looks close to it, with some alternating gemstones and a gopher's skull.
All right.
As the main token that's been soaked in a hypersaturated solution so that some real nice crystals have grown all over it.
Nice. Perfect. All right. Well,
Could
if
I sketch out really quickly, just in a notebook, everything I saw from the premonition, and just
Absolutely.
kind of sketch it out, just have it on me.
Yep, you got it.
Anna's just zipping up this very bright yellow anorak raincoat to get up after how messy it got last time.
Hey, Doc.
Yes.
This is gonna be okay, right? I mean, I mean, this. Like, I mean, it was. And
Do you mean you're gonna die?
I didn't say that.
No, but is that what you mean by I mean, if you know what I mean?
I mean, I don't care. I mean, like, I'm cool, but I mean, we're not gonna. I mean, right? It's gonna.
I mean, you're in safe hands. And she pats you on the shoulder. She's like, if anything right now, weirdly, you could be safer with us if this thing is walking around town.
Cool.
Excellent.
You okay?
Yeah, totally. I mean,
And she's, if anything, she's not trying to make fun. She's genuinely thinking she's communicating with a teenager. She doesn't get it. And she's like,
no, because he totally gets what you mean. Like,
there's a connection here. They actually understand each other. Okay, you stay close at all times.
Yeah.
If I say run, you run.
right,
Preferably away from the danger.
right.
Have you got a phone?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's really good. It's the new one.
And she
It's got
holds out
4
her
cameras.
like push-up flip phone that does not have a camera. So, well, it does, but there's like sellotape over the top because it fell off. And she's like, if we need to call someone, you're the guy, you're the man. Like she's like
All
trying
right.
to pep talk.
Yeah. Wait, I just thought you wanted so we could text.
You
In case we
you
got
want to text
separated?
me?
Well, what if we need to text?
Okay. And she pulls out a notebook full of Reese's, because she doesn't know text speak, so she has a notebook of all
Sure
the
does.
stuff. She's like, do you use this or normal stuff?
Oh, that one's super old. Like, nobody new uses that one anymore. Right now, it's like you have to know, like, it's like, oh. Okay, right now it's about strawberries and also carrots. That's the new thing.
What is you and your kids' fascination with fruit and vegetables?
Occasionally avocados.
Yeah, totally avocados. Ridley's so cool.
Hipsters.
I am.
I put my number in.
Yeah, she
her
hands
phone.
you the phone because she doesn't know what she said. She said, just put it in. And if you could put your name, also maybe like a picture, just so I know.
What was that, Ezra?
I'm so confused right now.
Yep.
Mr.
This is
Jameson,
what I feel like with my nieces.
you too. Your phone?
Oh, we all exchange it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we just all have to exchange numbers.
I just hand my phone
You're right.
around.
I feel compelled. Let's just.
Mix Redley, I just feel like we got to do it.
I look at the phone sitting on the counter, and when I say the phone, I mean the old school phone, not the cell phone.
Mhm.
Sitting on the counter, and just hand him a business card.
Okay. Yeah.
Sometimes technology doesn't work so well around me, so I keep it simple.
Perfect.
What year is this? Like 2001?
Whoa. Listen. That's not very nice. All right, so as numbers are exchanged, supplies are prepped, some reading on the town is made, some information is gathered on a Rougarou. If there's nothing else you would like to tackle, I think we will fast forward to dusk.
As we leave the copper, I slide a sealed envelope underneath the register, so it's visible, and grab my cane as we
Okay.
walk out.
Perfect. As you all, sorry.
Oh,
Yes,
sorry.
Cal?
Could I potentially ask the doctor a question?
Absolutely, go for it.
Okay, so I pull out the notebook and I just ask, Doctor, is this normal to have visions like this?
I mean, you're not the first this week to do it, but if anything, I'd say it's a good thing.
In this town?
In this town, it's actually pretty normal.
All right, then. I'll take
Welcome
your word
home.
for it.
Like, and she sort of like smiles. Is like, if anything, it's a good thing. Hey, at least you don't. And she sort of pauses for a moment, wondering if she's mentioned that her herself is a werewolf, and sort of takes a second moment to. I'm not going to freak her out just before we go and meet. You know, I'm not going to freak them out just before we go and meet this weird devil person. She's like, you'll be fine. You'll be absolutely fine. Tell me if you have any more.
Since I have the site, how much do I know?
So the site I also believe is a roll.
Okay.
Let me check just to make sure. The site is like one of my favorite. You can see invisible, especially spirits, magical influences. You may communicate, maybe even deals. The spirits you see, and they give you more opportunities to spot clues when you investigate a mystery. So yes, go ahead. If you'd like to, you may investigate a mystery, which is a sharp roll.
Cool. Oh, okay, so we're at 3. So,
So mark experience.
The yellow anorak puts you right off.
And even the same thing that kind of happened to Ezra, you get the sense that until the area is cleansed, the current location at the copper is a little bit tainted and is blocking your ability to see things as easily as you normally do. So as you all walk out the front door, I assume Ezra locking the door behind him, and set off towards the edge of the city where you're to meet Marius. We're going to go ahead and take a break there before we dive into the last half of our game. I think, as Alice says, kiss your pets, get some water, eat some food, hang tight, and we will be back in just a few minutes.
See you in a minute.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a restful break. I don't know. It's been like 10 minutes. Last we left off, we'll just go ahead and dive back into it. Last we left off our random group of spooky writer, spellcasting, hippy dippy, tea runner, and our 17-year-old and our werewolf are heading off to the edge of the city to meet back with Marius to gather more information on what needs to be done to protect Silver Hollow from a Rougarou. So as we're walking, is there anything you all would like to discuss, or would you like to fast forward to the location?
Just a note on the surroundings. How well lit is the town?
So we're reaching dusk. So it's getting it's not extremely dark. It's actually really beautiful out. It's a clear sky. The sun is starting to set beyond the mountains. And it's tossing a very orange and purple color throughout the sky. So you still have a good amount of light for at least the next hour as the sun begins to set beyond the mountains. So we're at dusk. Beautiful picture time.
Okay, and what's the moon supposed to be tonight?
So let's see. We just came out of I would say we are a waxing crescent. Yes. So the moon is, we just are coming out of a new moon.
So it's going to be a dark night.
It's going to be, with the clear sky, the moon will be out. It won't be full. But with the clear sky, you'll at least have the starlight. So it's going to be average light, not extremely bright as it can get up here in the thin air in a fuller moon. But you have a sliver of a moon that's going to cast a little bit of light. So it's going to be a little dark, yeah.
I don't want to show all my cards yet, so I'll just keep walking.
Okay, I'm writing down in my notes that it's a waxing crescent, so I can keep an eye on it.
I've just got my sports bag because I actually didn't go home. I've been hanging out with all the people, so I've just got my sports bag with me.
Okay.
You know, baseball bat, baseballs, a couple of them. Gear,
Cleats.
helmet, cleats.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Catchers.
Gotcha. Padding.
Padding. Just got it in there.
You're a catcher then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Han
Dig it.
is like reiterating with Alec, like, when I say run, you stay behind me, and if you see anything that looks even mildly spooky, you tell me. Like, she's going through the list, but she's repeating it over and over.
Right. And he's just like kind of nervously, like he's got a baseball that he's like kind of tossing up in the air and they're sort of catching. So he's got his bag on one shoulder, and the baseball bat is like, crosswise on the bag. You know how you have it, or cricket bat if that is your sport. And then he's just sort of like tossing the baseball sort of up and down as they're walking, to seem like he's not nervous about what might be happening in like a few moments.
You got it. Doesn't take you too long to get to the edge, as the copper and the high school across the street are already sitting on like more the edge of town. So you're kind of just walking forward about 6 or 7 blocks before you start reaching just a more secluded area that Marius had picked out. And as you're approaching, you see that he is already there and waiting for you all. He greets you. Well, I'm comforted that you at least showed up. Glad I didn't have to start this process all over again.
So what's the thing we're gonna do?
Well, the key is we're gonna have to lure him out. I assume you probably don't want to take care of this in the middle of the city.
It would be advisable not to.
Well, I assume you probably did some research on a Rougarou.
It's a pastry that you can get in like Jewish delis. Super delicious.
No, love, that is a rhubarb pie, but I appreciate the effort. Any questions?
How are you planning on luring it?
Well, as crude as it might sound, we might need a little bit of bait. Something that it wants to feast on, something that would entice it away from whatever it might be hunting. The key is we have to get it to an area that will at least shut down its defenses a little bit for us to be able to dispel of it.
What would you suggest?
Well, and he kind of looks over at Malik as he's tossing, and then he'll reach through almost like a portal and catch the ball by Malik's face before it even hits his hand and pull it through.
Are you suggesting we use my #1 superfan?
Yeah, like Pan slides into this person's like view. She's like, no.
I'm open to suggestions, but you have to understand the Rougarou cannot be bartered with. It can't be talked out of doing anything. It's down to its base animalistic instincts. It must be lured away. And to do that, you're going to have to give it something that it hungers for. I just pointed at your young friend because they looked like they could run pretty quickly.
Oh, I'm a really good runner.
And he'll just throw the ball back at you.
It's a good,
Reflexes, you see?
it's a good
I, of
shot.
course, don't want to put anybody in danger, but it's either that or... Well, I assume the bodies are going to start dropping anytime soon, and he'll look over to you, Cal. You might have an understanding of when it probably is all going to start, where he might be.
Can I look into my notebook real quick?
Your notebook? Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Awesome.
And as you open the notebook, your eyes flash as almost energy surges across the pages, and you have a difficulty focusing, and you try to figure out this thing that is happening, and you blink, and it a few times, and after a few seconds it dissipates as a wild surge. Hey, everybody, we have a wild magic surge for 90 for retweets, and I had to mess with somebody, and you were the one that popped up. So your journal seems to be encapsulated with flowing energy. As you blink a little bit, you go, ooh, I really need to get some sleep. You are muted. Oh, there you are.
Is it better? Okay.
Yeah.
I do need to get some sleep. You're right. One can only run on tea for so long. Let's see. I believe I might be able to help. I had a vision that I definitely remember about an entity attacking somebody, I believe, outside a grocery store. Is there a grocery store in this town?
Absolutely. There's one. Most of everything that is in Silver Hollow is going to be at the city center. Hey, I get to pull out my handy dandy map. Don't judge me for my maps. Well, there's a general store. Where's my grocery store? It's fine. Yeah, there's a general store right next to Jay's Diner at the center of town. General store. And Jay's Diner is here. Y'all are currently beyond this edge over here. Maps. I should probably digitize it at some point, but
Mix Ridley, I have a question. You saw a vision of someone getting attacked by the cannibal?
Yes, I did.
Was it me?
Do I need to roll for that?
No. In your vision. Ooh.
Because they didn't know me yet, so they wouldn't have recognized me.
No, it was not you. It was not Malik. The person you saw was just a bystander. As your premonition sees what is going to happen if not intervened or interfered with, and you get a clear outline of what it is. Rolling as high as you did, you have a clear premonition. Sometimes they're muddled, sometimes the headache hits, but no information. But what you saw was the start of what was going to be essentially a very costly massacre.
It was the beginning of something bad, just really bad, but you shouldn't worry. I didn't see you there.
Okay, cool.
And you remember chapter 5? You remember what Captain Van said to Audrey?
Oh, yeah. Captain Van has got the best hair, I imagine. Captain Van said to Audrey, think to the stars, because that is where we first come from and where we find our strength. And with the strength of the stars, we cannot be vanquished.
Couldn't have said that better myself. Really couldn't have.
That's so
Just
deep.
remember that.
But
Sorry,
how is that
remember
helping
that.
us now?
We can use the stars to lure it out. Because the thing about Mix Ridley's books is that they always have secret double meanings.
Yes.
So we're gonna lure them out with astrology maps?
Yes. Mr. Jameson, you know about astrology maps.
Yeah. I know a thing or two. Yeah. All I see in the stars though is a cancer setting in on this town.
Then we need a doctor.
I think a doctor would be the right one to cut this cancer out.
Well, isn't that wonderful? But we've yet to really come to any conclusion. There's a lot of poetry being flurried around, and I have to say I admire the creativity, but we are running out of time before there are actual consequences.
Can we just get like a roast beef sandwich or something and like put it on like a stick or a string and then...
Perhaps, if that's something that they still yearn. I'm not sure whether they've tasted blood yet or not. Whether it has moved beyond what could just be bought at the grocer's.
Get really rare roast beef sandwich. Cause you know, like sometimes you get a steak at a restaurant and it's like still really bloody.
I was gonna say at the general store, should we straight up buy a steak? Like...
That is a possibility. So what? We're gonna go and buy a couple $100 worth of filet mignons and try to piece of candy it out like E.T. to the woods? Yes, I know pop culture.
Do you a couple of $100? Do you have that? Are you paying? I'm not buying filet mignon.
I've still got a little bit of meat back at the copper.
Is it
That could
raw?
work.
If it hasn't tasted human flesh, there's a possibility that it could be lured away. If not, we're gonna have to get a little bit more drastic.
Well, where should we make the battleground for this?
Well, after I left, I did a little bit of wandering around. Just try to get a sense of this quaint little town that you have. Trying to get a beam on where the lines are most powerful. What means more powerful for the lines means more weaker for the entity. Not too far from here, and he'll kind of look back towards the town in the city center. And leading out just beyond the main street starts to break off towards the woods a little bit. And Pan, you would know this, and probably Malik, you would as well. Probably Ezra as well, you know like a good sacred spot that's closer to the running water that is quite powerful. It's probably about half a mile away from the general store. Would be the best place to get it to lure it out.
Is this spot where we hang out, like after games or whatever?
You might try to go out there and get into a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
Like not like a whole lot of trouble. You're a good kid, but like, probably building, little dams to try to block up the river every once in a while, or doing some fishing in a place that maybe you shouldn't fish.
It's like good kid trouble.
Some good kid trouble, just adventuring. Maybe not so much anymore as you're a little bit older and has grown beyond childish play.
Now.
Yeah. But it's definitely a place that's known to Ezra and Malik and Pan. You might have walked out there just trying to get in touch with everything that lives within you as well.
All right. Let's make one last stop by the copper, and we'll make our way to the grove. Yeah.
Okay. Take out my phone and I text my parents that I'm hanging out and I'll be at home later.
Okay. It's a Friday, so they're probably gonna be a little bit more lenient with your curfew.
Just hanging out with friends.
And they text you back, okay, who's it with? How long are you gonna be? The standard parents questions, trying to see which band of kids you're with to gauge just how worried they should be.
I want to tell them that it's Cal Ridley, but I feel like I can't.
They probably wouldn't believe you. So Marius will stick with you and kind of just make some small talk as he walks next to you. So you all head back towards the copper to get the meat?
Yeah.
Just be generic conversations with Marius from behind Pan about trying to figure out more of like, what is Marius? If Marius is not a vampire, then you're clearly not a mummy. But like, just trying to figure out, like, maybe you're like, are you like an elf or a dragon?
Pan is not leaving him on his own. Like she's walking ahead, but she's listening to everything because she doesn't trust Marius at all.
Marius listens with a patience that is telling of probably centuries of a name talk, and it doesn't give you too much information, but like we'll try to mess with you a little bit, like, oh, could be a dragon, who knows, that would be exciting, and like just kind of ever so slightly fucking with you just a little bit, not leading too much, because the information that he has is power.
And I potentially try. Sorry, continue.
Oh, no, please go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Could I just potentially try to read Marius's mind?
Read his mind. Oh shoot.
You
Telepathy.
said that so casually. It's like, can I just read his mind?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Am I helping out Cal by asking Marius about themselves? Like I'm doing this thing where I'm sort of quizzing about themselves in that kind of young kid excited way, which I feel like is a help out on the mind read.
It depends on how Cal would like to do this. Are you trying to are you trying to just start conversation with them and get a sense that way, or are you wanting to do it surreptitiously?
Surreptitiously.
Okay. Let's see. Sorry. I was trying to think of a way to do this. So you know how sometimes in D&D when you're fighting against something and you ask if somebody would get advantage and then you say that they are not threatening to you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Malik is not threatening to Marius. So I will say the help out action would not work in this moment.
Oh.
They are older and wiser.
It's like a setup. Like I'm just like trying to I feel like I'm getting them to talk about, or at least maybe think about themselves, so that perhaps Cal has more interesting things to read.
Well, let me see.
Because I don't know if help out is only a combat thing, but like, I was thinking like, because like if Marius is not thinking about himself at all, then there might be interesting things to read. But I've got a steady pattern of like, well, could you be this? Where are you from? Like, are you from this area, or like do you like what is your home look like? Like just these sorts of like trying to find out about them that might
just trying to break down the barrier a little bit, make them a little easier to read.
Yeah.
All right, I'll allow it. I'll allow you to have, I believe it gives you a +1 on the roll. So go ahead and roll. Ooh. So words you can allow. This is going to be an investigative mystery because you're not. I don't know if it's going to be a manipulate someone at this time.
And I'm not manipulating anyone on purpose.
So that's a 7.
A 7?
With the +1 that you said. So
Okay.
that's 7 total.
Perfect. So you get a general humming, and he's thinking about the task at hand. Whatever is about to happen in his mind is categorized as something that is very important, that must be done, and is very time sensitive. You get a slight sense of his nature is demonic, that they are very old, they are very sneaky, and they are not all good. But you don't get any sense of anything where they are working with you in this chance, and that they believe that that taking care of the Rougarou is something that has to happen. But you're not able to push too much further than that. But because you did roll low, he'll kind of look at you and just kind of give you a wink, knowing exactly what you just did.
Hey Malik, why don't you come back here for a second? I wanna tell you something about the stars.
Ooh.
Since you were curious earlier.
Sure, cool. And I sort of like drift back from the dangerous otherworldly creature that I don't realize is as dangerous as it is.
I walk closer to him, not Malik, to the dangerous otherworldly creature.
You walk closer to Marius?
Yeah. I think her nose is twitching, like she can smell that he's
You can absolutely
bad.
And
And she can't hide it. She's just like looking at him.
We'll use the same scent that Ezra sensed in the copper. You do get a strong odor of sulfur.
Yeah, her nose is obviously wrinkled up as she sort of glares up at him. But...
Yeah. And she'll kind of just look and be like, well, you don't smell very well yourself. Wet dog, almost.
Not rotten eggs.
You grow accustomed to it.
Same.
You make it back to the copper. You're able to collect whatever's left of the venison carcass or meat that you have. And set off towards the location of Cal's vision that you've grown, wow, words. Caffeine's wearing out quick. The general store's back alley, where the garbage can had held the raw, disgusting, expired meat, lay as the sun sets behind the mountains. What is your plan? What is it? Would you all like to discuss what exactly you're going to do on this walk to the general store?
How close from this alley?
Mm-hmm.
How close are we to the woods, the not?
So, Maria said that you're about the location is about a half a mile to 3/4 of a mile away from the center of the city. So you would get the sense that about a half mile to 3/4 of a mile away from where you're trying to lure it away from.
How many people are out and about?
It's a Friday night.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. So Jay's Diner is starting to get a little busy, and Jay's Diner is right next to the general store. The general store is going to be closing soon. This is a small town, and like most small towns, they stupidly close at like 7:30, which is really weird. Except for the really cool places to hang out, like the bars and like the comic shop are still kind of open. And Jay's Diner is, of course, getting the influx of dinner guests or those coming in for a malt. And people are out and about enjoying the cool weather. It's like low 50s as we're entering into fall. And so there's a good amount of people. It's bustling.
Doc,
Chisel looks up.
if we're supposed to lure this thing into the woods, I feel like it's gonna go through a lot of town, right? And that's probably bad.
It is bad, but at the same time, I don't know.
Don't mind me, just a lot of paper.
If anything, it's going to be after us and not continuously wandering around town.
My map is hilarious. Okay. So you have... Woo! All right.
That map is so epically awesome, I cannot even handle it.
Right?
I had a lot of...
That's
This
cool.
is what happens when hyperfocus is a bitch. So here you have the general store. And you have Jay's Diner here. The location that Marius chose out, if you see... There we go. The blue section over here is a very large river and lake area. And there's like woods here as well. So it's a straight shot about a half mile out that way. So here's your city center where your a lot of your shops are, and like residential areas over here, the little park, and like the high school and stuff is over here. So back alley for the general store is going to be back here, of course, and back there, and then a lot of people are congregating here for a nice night out. It's so big. Okay.
So, Mix Ridley, it was going after the garbage?
Something near it. A person. Many people if it goes, well, if we can't stop it.
Can we get it before it gets here? Like, remove the garbage can or something? Like maybe rather than waiting for it to get here, we can, like, what direction was it coming from? Like where does it sleep?
Well, that would be an excellent question, perhaps, to ask the seer of the group.
It's not me. Not it.
And he'll look at you, Cal. I forgot that, like,
I
I'm just looking
was like,
straight at the
wait.
computer. I don't know, I'm suave. You should know who I'm looking at.
That is a question. Do I know the exact direction of where this person comes from?
I think it would be an excellent time for a roll.
Yes.
And also, if you wanted to join in too, Ezra, if you wanted to try and use your forensic divination, I would allow that as well. So you can both roll, and we'll see
Awesome.
what happens.
Ooh.
5.
5. All right, go ahead and mark. Sorry, bud. Mark another thing for experience, and you got an 8, Ezra. Perfect. Let's see. How does forensic divination work? Bear with me, y'all. Spell slingers is a new thing for me, but I love it. Forensic divination, it helps you spot clues, right? When you successfully investigate a mystery, you may ask what magic was done here as a free extra question. But so essentially, we'll say that you did a generic investigate a mystery, and if there's any magic in the area, then I would give that to you. And investigate a mystery, you get to ask me certain questions. Don't mind that. That wasn't important. All right, so you rolled an 8, so you get to ask me one of the following questions. What happened here? What sort of creature is it? What can it do? What can it hurt? Where did it go? What was it going to do? Or what is being concealed here? So free question, you already know what sort of creature it is. You already know semi what it can do. And you know what can hurt it. So I would assume probably where did it go? what is being concealed here, and we can also give you the extra what magic is concealed here. You are muted, my love. Oh no!
Still muted. On Zoom.
On Zoom.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, sorry about that. No, there's
You're good.
hardcore construction going on.
You're fine. It's ambiance. We're out in the city right now.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
I'm gonna ask what's being concealed here.
Okay. So we'll say as you were walking up on okay. We'll say as you're walking up on the general store and you're starting to hit that city center, you yourself start to notice places that an entity would want to keep itself concealed, right? You see the entrances to the back alley. Excuse me. And as you look over, you see a manhole cover slide a little bit, and an entity kind of dart out from it. And as it's moving around the back alley, and what's being concealed here is it's starting to move so quickly that you can almost not see it. But now that you know what you're looking for, you can kind of map it as it's kind of going up in a manhole cover, going a little bit, hearing something, and running back and going back down to try and conceal itself.
Okay, I'm gonna start limping really visibly and leaning on the cane more so than I was before. And that little black tincture that I had, I'm gonna pop it open and take a deep whiff of the kind of sage and anise with a little bit of mint thrown in there and something astringent, almost chemical. And I'm gonna grimace and shoot it. And I'm gonna attempt to use magic to do something beyond human capability.
Okay.
And I'm gonna try to give myself the ability to see in the dark.
You're gonna give yourself the ability to see in the dark?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Do you want me to make a use magic roll?
Yes. Because you are doing see in the dark, and then what was the other thing that you were doing? I'm sorry.
No, I was leaning heavily on my cane.
Okay.
And slowing my pace a little bit.
Got it. And you're just trying to give yourself the ability to see in the dark. That's it.
Yeah.
You don't have to make a roll. I'll let you have that.
Okay, cool.
But Cal, because you failed on the sight roll, whatever you're trying to see, it sees you. Which is one of the things I love about sight. I had to look at that. I was like, ooh, wait, on a failed roll, whatever you're trying to spot sees you. And you kind of see this both simultaneously as the Rougarou is speeding up and down this alley trying to find a place where it can remain hidden. It kind of feels you, and it looks straight at you and goes to dart to run.
I don't mean to alarm anybody, but I might have tried to find something, and instead it found me.
I was like, wait, what?
And as she says that, you all look over to kind of the entrance to this alley, and you see this really it looks human. It's humanoid in likeness, but its bone structure is almost protruding out of it more than normal, almost as if it's starved, and you can see its bone structure peeking through its skin as the muscle is weaning off of it, like it's feeding off of itself, and it's pale, and it looks at you, and as it locks eyes, its eyes almost have that animalistic sheen to it, where light that passes over it just has that iridescence as it kind of opens its mouth, and its mouth opens larger, almost like Imhotep on the Mummy when he was just like, except for instead of just gum, it's just these serrated teeth. As you are now spotted and you see this thing in the alley. What do you do?
Someone please tell me I'm trapped in one of my movies.
You're muted, Malik.
I'd like to throw my baseball at it to get it to chase me.
No.
Because I'm bait. Like, we had the whole conversation, and I was like, well, I'm gonna get its attention by throwing my baseball at it to get it to chase me.
Okay. Let's see how good your aim is. I think that's gonna be roll tough. Would it be a kick some ass? What's your highest stat?
Charm.
That is not a charm roll.
I'm trying to get it to chase me.
Well, then we'll do an act under pressure to see how well you're going to be able to be calm and throw a baseball accurately.
Cool. And I'm gonna be like, hey you. 9.
Oh.
You and hit this thing square in the head, and it charges for you.
I run.
Okay. The chase is on.
I'm running towards the sacred space.
Okay. And Marius goes, I told you my plan was better.
I think Pan just screams, not looking at Marius, but like, no, like towards Malik.
It's already happening. So
Yeah.
we have a very athletic 17-year-old running at top speed with a Rougarou that is closing in on him, and Marius kind of looks at you and goes, "We can go through a shortcut," as he waves his hand and kind of slices through the area, the air in front of him as it begins to shimmer, give you all a way to get there quicker.
I think Pan, without thinking, just jumped straight in. Like,
Okay.
I'll also sprint.
Okay.
I'll
Ezra?
light a cigarette and look to Malik and go, we all know how this is going to end. And walk through.
All right, and Marius will step through and hit it, and it feels almost like the air is escaping out of your body as you feel it become like you're not attached to it anymore, and then suddenly you are, and it's painful for you. Pan, maybe it's not as painful for you with the fact that you have that wolf entity inside you. You know what it feels like for your body to no longer be a part of yourself anymore. But for Ezra and Cal, it is almost nauseating as your body is like goo, goo, and you are there and you see in the distance a Malik just hauling ass. I'm gonna say though, the Rougarou is gonna be a lot quicker than you. So he's gonna get one swipe at you at least on your way in. So I'm gonna say that you do take 2 harm as it slices across your back with its talons, with its not its talons, but its extended nails, as it tries to, and you see as it swipes at you and it tastes it, and it almost goes feral as it just wants now more of you.
I think it's one of those moments. Well, first off, I feel like you're only doing this to me because I chose catcher and not shortstop, but whatever.
I mean, listen, I understand that you have like very powerful thighs, but you are not going to be as quick as a runner. Like, let's face it.
It's fair. That's fair.
Sorry, bro. I know. I'm a jock. I know what baseball is.
You're like, no, I know this sport. I think it's one of those things where it's a lot of, especially once we get into the forest, trying to like dodge over this log, like especially once I get hit, I was like, oh no.
Yeah. it hurts 100%. It's not great, but I'll say that you're going to be able to close that gap probably better than the only other person that might have been faster than you was Pan in her wolf form. But you all are now at the location, and as you drop in, especially Ezra and Cal being as connected to the supernatural as you are and the paranormal as you can, you feel the energy pulsating like almost instantly, as if the water flowing over the rocks quickly calls to you, as if the ground itself is made off of like a magnetic field, and you feel almost dizzy a little bit as the power just starts to pulsate on you. And Marius himself seems uncomfortable as you get the sense that what is most likely an evil entity, a corrupted entity, is on something that's a little bit more sacred, and it's painful, and it even weakens him a little bit, and you get the sense of why maybe he needed a little bit more help to capture this thing. What do you do as Malik and Aruguru come charging down at you?
Once they're in my my heightened dark vision sight, are they close enough for a blast?
Yeah, I'll say. Yeah, sure. For the sake of time, I'll say that Malik is pretty quick. He could probably make it 3/4 of a mile in.
I've got a 5-minute mile.
Yeah, 5-minute mile. So like, yeah, a few minutes, and you guys got there, and y'all got there instantaneously. So yes, you can. They'll be in. Yeah, you can do a blast.
Cool.
And I'm hollering, so you know I'm coming. And you
Yeah.
know exactly where I am.
I can see you. Don't worry. And I'm going to take a real deep drag and kick some dirt up, and hold my hand out and start saying some words in Latin that I learned a long time ago. And that little bit of dirt that I kicked up is gonna draw more dirt up with it, and I'll hurl a blast of earth at the Uguru.
Okay, go ahead and roll a kick some ass roll.
But
But instead of your tough, it's gonna be with your weird.
Okay.
Yeah. So because you're combat magic, so you're gonna use magic, but it's considered a kick some ass roll.
So that's an 11.
Oh, wow. Excellent. So you center yourself, and you pull up the dust from the earth, and you pull up that energy that's surging, and almost as if you've been invigorated, and you don't even feel the pain in your leg anymore as the power around you surges, and you miss Malik's head by maybe this much as you hit square on behind it, the Rougarou. And you could see as the Rougarou was almost about to get into that bite, closing in on Malik as it's now feral and just frenzied need to feast on Malik, knocks the Rougarou back enough, giving Malik enough time to get further away from the Rougarou and closer to y'all and closer to safety, buying you all a few seconds more before it's in your melee.
And that does have the forceful restraining tag, since it's earth.
Perfect. Excellent. So it's going to try and keep it where it's at?
Yeah.
All right.
And can I inflict 1 extra harm since it was a success?
Sure can.
Sure, thank you. So that'll be 3 harm.
Yeah. And it is now in this area. You would say that it was getting pretty close to you, so it's probably within 50 feet of this circular of this open area where the water is rushing, and it is screaming. It is upset that A, that it's locked, B, that its prey just got out of its reach, and C, it doesn't 100% understand what's happening to it as its body is just convulsing, being on what is essentially a sacred hallowed ground, being a corrupted entity. Good job. Malik, I assume you just keep running away?
Oh, yeah.
Excellent. Pan and Cal, what are you both doing at this moment?
I'm running to Pan.
Okay.
It's where I'm.
Yeah.
And to be running to Malik. This is
Okay.
the thing, is it? But she's changing at the same time because she's trying to put herself in between Malik, and she's yelling at him at the same time, like, "Why didn't you? Why would you throw it?" But she's changed, so it's like, rah, 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 and it doesn't make sense.
It is so off-putting to suddenly see before you what was a very small in stature Pan, start to transform into their wolf self, and what the hell do you think you're thinking? As it just starts howling at you. Pan, because I love it, do you want to describe your transformation?
Yeah, again, as she does, she's running. So she starts off running in person, and it sort of starts to go on to, as she starts to change, she falls onto all fours. She's not a big werewolf. She's weirdly lean and quite small compared to all of her other werewolf buds. But she's very sort of light brown in color with this white streak from on her human body where a scar has been left. So there's a white streak from the back of her neck and all the way across her body from when she was in the war. And she's running and, as I said, yelling at Malik, and she'll probably stop in front of him, look towards this creature, then look at Malik.
My plan is to actually slide. My plan is to do a baseball slide underneath Pan.
Really cool.
Be on the other side of Pan, like when Pan stops, I just, because I'm running, and then I just like slide down on the other side of Pan.
Perfect. Cal, what are you doing?
I don't want to do it because I know how my rolls have been going.
Hey, you never know. This could be your time.
Do it.
But I know Cal would panic and try to shoot at it with a .38 revolver.
Absolutely.
So I will panic and try to shoot it with a .38 revolver.
You got it. I believe that is you move a little closer to try and improve your aim. It's supposed to be a close weapon, which means that anytime you try to deal harm, you risk getting harm yourself. But I'm like, it's a gun. You shouldn't. It's fine. But go ahead and roll. It's going to be roll kick some ass. It's going to be roll a tough. I believe in you.
5.
No. Okay.
That's like a 9.
Please don't hit anybody else.
Okay.
It's fine if it's me.
So, oh bless your heart. So you go to fire the weapon and realize that the safety is still on, and it doesn't even fire, and you're like, shit, I never used this thing, and I'm panicked. And in the meantime, the Rougarou is able to break through its forceful binding to the earth, and it comes at you and slashes at you, dealing you a 2 harm. As it tastes that blood again, you see as the blood starts to almost seep into its skin, and its body morphs ever so much as the spine protrudes even more, and the teeth get even more sharper as its eyes go completely black with hunger, like you would see a shark when it gets scent, and it is frenzied, but now in this space with you all.
That seems bad.
It's not great.
Yeah, that heroic moment's not going in the book.
Right.
Assuming I live.
Marius will kind of wave his hand as best as he can as he's fighting, being on this ground, and he will summon a spear and he will throw it. I don't know if I have to roll for it, just in case. Yeah, that's a 10. I'm not fudging my rolls, I promise. I use some really cool dice. And catches a spear and tries to take the spear and impale through the Rougarou's chest and pin it to the ground. But the spear itself almost doesn't seem like it's 100% in this plane, as he's not able to pull as much power as he wanted behind it. And he just looks to you all and just in almost a panic sound, he's like, what did I bring you all here for? Burn it! And that will be his turn. As you watch the at least the wound that Ezra was able to inflict on it slowly heal itself as the blood licks from the edge of its fingertips.
GM Alpha, what exactly does the help out? What exactly does that do? Tell me about that move, if you don't mind.
The help out move essentially is you roll a cool, and it essentially is saying you get the chance to see if you're calm enough to assist another player. It is based off of a dice roll. If you succeed, I tell you what you can do to help out. And if you fail, then there are other things. So let's see, because there's things. I have the book, y'all. Go buy the book. If you have the book, go get it. Shit, where's my help out? Manipulate someone, kick some ass. It's not kick some ass. Investigative. There it is. When you help out another hunter with the move they are making, roll plus cool. On a 10 plus, your help grants them a +1 on their roll without any questions. On a 7 to 9, your help grants them a +1, but you also expose yourself to trouble or danger. On a failure, you expose yourself to trouble or danger without helping. So go ahead and roll cool and let me know, who are you trying to help out in this instance?
Pan.
Okay.
I suspect that I imagine what I'm doing is like going through my sports bag and throwing at it to sort of distract it to make it easier to be attacked by Pan.
Okay.
Right, like I'm gonna be, distraction from behind Pan.
Got it. You're just gonna throw more baseballs out of your bag?
I have a bag full of baseballs.
Sure do.
Right?
I'm still wearing my satchel. I'm a werewolf in a satchel right now. Can I pass in my first aid kit so that I don't break it or anything?
Yeah, because before we get to that, we'll see. We'll be at the top of the turn with Malik. You're going, and then Ezra. I believe you were next. You had cast Blast the last time.
And I don't need to roll because I have the power of heart.
You sure do. So you automatically succeed. Look at you, mundane. Oh, it's so wonderful.
Because I'm helpful.
You are helpful. It helps to have a mundane on the team. So you have a +1 on your next roll, Pan, for whatever you decide you'd like to do. Ezra, what are you doing?
I'm gonna look to Cal and say, I hope you got something hot there, Miss Bookworm. Are you ready, Doc? And I'm gonna use magic to close me and the Doc in.
Okay.
I'm gonna use a combat magic wall.
Got it.
Surround the two of us with the beast.
And trap it. You got it. I believe that is another weird roll.
Yep. Another +2. 8.
8. All right, so that is a success. So what happens is this wall kind of, do you want it to just be around you and Pan, blocking it out from Cal and Malik? Okay, so essentially Cal and Malik now have a +1 armor.
Yeah.
And the wall itself does a harm barrier on the other side. So I'll say that you get 1 harm and Pan, you get 1 harm. And also the entity will get 1 harm. However, Pan, I believe you have a 1 armor. So that's a 0. Ezra, did you have any armor at all? No. Okay, so you just take a 1 harm.
Yep. And I'll just kind of to cap things off, I'll unscrew my cane and pull out a copper blade.
Perfect. I love it. I love it. All right, Pan, it is your turn.
So this thing is upright, right?
Correct. Yeah, it is humanoid in its nature, and it is frenzied.
She's going to be running towards it.
Okay.
To make sure she can get it down so that it can't throw itself at anyone else.
Okay.
And with that, she's mainly running, getting her claws out, and she's jamming them into the shoulder blades and pushing it down, sort of turning herself round so she's digging it through him and into the ground.
You got it. All right. Trying to get it closer to that
yeah, she's sort of trying to power center as much as possible and hoping someone has some. I have some form of fire. I don't think I have a lighter though, but I know Ezra smokes.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Okay, and I get an extra.
You get a +1.
Okay, so on top of my usual +2.
Correct. For your precision attack, right? Got it.
Oh wow!
What'd you roll?
Bad. I rolled a 6.
You rolled a 6?
6 on all of that.
With a +3.
Yeah.
Okay. That is a failure. Mark experience. What are you up to now? Do you have 3 experience? 4 experience?
I think I have 3.
Okay. So you You run at this entity to try and pin it into a ground, and it sees you coming, and you haven't really dealt with something that is this frenzied before, or at least it's been a long time since you have. As it kind of shifts to the left and shifts to the right, it circles around you and digs its nails into you and takes a huge bite, dealing you 3 harm.
3
As it's now on top of you, frenzied in its bloodlust, and also in the fact that you've caged it, and it doesn't like it. The wall will be up, I think, for another round. I don't know if these things are permanent. I think that it's like a spell that it's like a cantrip. It only lasts for a certain amount of time. So we come to Malik and Cal.
Cal first, I think, right?
Yes, Cal.
So it's behind a wall.
Theoretically, yeah.
Short wall?
It's a barrier of a sort that you can't really see. You can see it kind of morphing a little bit, almost like the way I've always pictured it is almost like a mirage in the heat. You don't know if it's something that you could step through. It's possible. It depends on the nature of it. It's up to you and what you want to try or what you want to do.
I'll try to take another shot.
Take another shot?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We're gonna try.
You got it. Go ahead and I believe in you.
Thank you. All right. Oh, okay. All right. 10. 10.
Okay. You fire, and thankfully the barrier is only protection on this side, but seems like a projectile at least can pass through it. And I believe that is a 2 harm weapon. Mm-hmm. You hit it square on. I believe that it is. You have a choice of what to do. Gotta love it. Always slows me down. So you gain so you can choose from these 4 things. You gain the advantage, take a +1 forward, or give a +1 to somebody else. You inflict terrible harm, so you add an extra harm to whatever your weapon deals. You suffer less harm, or you force them where you want them. Those are your decisions.
I'll add an extra harm.
You'll add an extra harm. Mm-hmm. So we'll say that as the projectile passes through, the wall kind of backfires a little bit, dealing you 1 harm, but you do deal 3 harm to this entity squirming around you, and it turns to you as it's got its eyes set on you, and you see the bullet hole slowly start to heal. Malik, it is your turn.
I am going to. I've got the first aid kit.
Okay.
I presume first aid kits have rubbing alcohol.
Yes.
Because you have to disinfect things.
Mm-hmm.
Rubbing alcohol is flammable, and I can
sure
throw
is.
things. That's what I do.
Okay.
I'm going to throw the rubbing alcohol at this creature. 1, to try to get it doused in alcohol, at least enough to sort of burn it. But 2, maybe to help out Dr. Edwards a little bit, because it looks a little unfortunate at this moment, and I'm just gonna try to.
Well, I would say that you have the choice of either helping out or attacking.
I'm
not
going to
both at the same time.
I don't imagine I'll do that damage at it. I just want to get the alcohol on it.
Okay, you just want to douse it. You don't want to light it. Okay.
Because I don't imagine I imagine because I don't have a lighter, right? I just have the bag. So I don't think I can douse it.
No, I don't think you would have you would have to
Yeah.
explain to me how a 17-year-old would have a lighter, which I wouldn't, put it past them.
In 2020, I don't see it. I'm a baseball kid. I don't have a lighter.
You don't have a lighter. You're a good kid. You have chewing gum.
Right, I'm a good kid. So I don't think I'd be able to light it, so I don't think I could do damage to it, but I think I can probably douse it.
Okay.
And if that helps out someone else, great. If not, that's also fine, but he's trying to be helpful. into
I
a
will.
setup
I will
other
say
people.
that putting the rubbing alcohol. If you succeed on hitting it, will give
Mhm.
a +1 to whoever tries to light it.
Ah,
So
sweet.
I believe that is.
If it's help, it's an automatic success. This counts as a help someone.
I wouldn't consider because you still have to aim.
That is fair. Would we then kick ass?
Yeah. I was like, you
No,
still
it's
gotta
fine.
hit it, bruh. Still gotta hit it.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm a catcher. I'm really good at this. At catching
You're
things.
so good at this.
6. I'm really good at catching things.
6.
Uh,
Really good at catching
yes.
things.
I realize that catching and throwing are slightly different.
Yep. All right. So
I
we'll
mean-
say that you don't hit this entity.
No.
It comes
wide.
Yeah, it swings wide. It will come at you instead, taking another damage going through the wall at this point, as the wall breaks, and the rubbing alcohol lands by it but doesn't hit it.
Yeah.
And we'll say that it's just half full, half kind of leaking out wherever it's at. And you are dealt 2 harm, my brud.
And is that just
I
one
think-
because of the arm of the barrier?
I'll knock it back to 1 as it goes through the barrier. Yep.
So I've taken 3.
I think you're
I'm
1
still
away
okay.
from unstable.
I am.
Okay,
I am.
and we'll go to Marius as he tries his best to try and summon another spear, but you can see as every moment he is standing here, he is weakened, and is unable to assist at this point. So we're at Ezra, I believe.
All right, I've got an offer to make you, storyteller.
Okay.
So I still got that lit cigarette almost all the way burned hanging out of my lips.
I believe it.
If I'm willing to burn myself, can I light my sword and attack?
I'll allow it.
That tattoo that's on my left arm, I'm gonna take a deep drag to get the cherry nice and red, put it out on the arm, and the whole arm will blaze, casing the sword.
Okay.
And I'll try to kick some ass.
You got it.
Alright, so I'll take 1
go
harm.
for it. Yep. Go. And also, you do have advantage. Somebody in the chat did give you advantage on your roll.
Yes, good, Mr. Michael Wayne. Yeah.
But when
so
you roll, I guess you can roll 3d6 and take the 2 of the higher.
Sure, I'll do that. Is it going to be kick some ass or use magic?
If you are trying to, ooh. What is your weird in comparison to your tough?
Tough is +1. Weird is +2.
I will say go ahead and roll with your tough as you are using brute force to make the attack, whether you had magic involved or not.
Sure. And will I take 1 harm going back through the barrier, or can I just drop it?
I would say that you casting another or doing something else has dropped the barrier, especially since the entity has passed through it. It also broke.
Okay, cool. All right, so I'm gonna roll my 3d6 +1. That's a 10.
All right. You move through and you reach forward, almost like scooping up whatever rubbing alcohol is in the earth as you douse this entity, and it almost, as soon as you touch it, its whole body is almost like pulled to the earth as something pulls it down, and its body ignites, and you hear the screams of this being as it slowly starts to ooze, almost turn into an ooze and sink into the earth. And as you do, the earth kind of rumbles, almost like a quake, as it shifts, and the earth itself starts to burn around it. And you hear behind you, I couldn't do it myself, as he disappears into nothingness as the burnt portion of the earth continues to grow and grow and grow as the corruption begins to spread throughout this ley line. You've defeated the Rougarou, but released something
Crab
else.
apples.
And that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
I'm just bleeding.
You're just bleeding.
As I'm
You're
saying.
bleeding.
Pam would have walked over and started but just put she's tired, but put hands on Malik's shoulder. Looks like she's about to tell him off, but then it'd be lay on hands, which she does have in werewolf form, just like,
Just starts licking the wounds a little bit.
Just like,
Like-
it's okay. Pat you on the
And I was
head.
like,
just lay
Are
on
you
hands.
okay? Dr. Edwards, you all right?
So just like, just
What was that?
weird sounds.
What's up, Ezra?
Can I use this might sting on my now completely scorched arm?
Sure can.
This
And
is
Cal,
why
what are
it's
you doing?
Covered in scars. Yeah,
Oh,
so it's
sorry.
an 11.
What's up? Yes.
Perfect.
Crawling. Because we're not doing great. We're not doing terribly, but we're not doing great.
What's your harm at?
3.
This is
We're not
probably the
able-
most harm I've
Yeah.
ever dealt out to everybody, and I'm a little happy about it. I'm sorry. I feel like I've been too nice. This is a horror game after all.
You're right. You're right.
Excuse me, if you'd like, I can patch you up, but it's gonna hurt real bad.
Might sting,
It's
some
fine.
might say.
I'm ready.
You
Is
ready?
anybody above 3 harm?
I'm at 3.
Okay.
What does lay on paws do?
Lay on hands, I believe heals you for 1 extra harm. So heals you essentially 2 harm, I guess. So 1
I
harm.
will then proceed to bandage with my
Yeah.
claws.
So as you all take a moment
So
to lick
what-
your wounds.
What's
Yeah.
that? I say, pointing to the ground. I'm like, my dudes, what's that? Is that bad? It looks bad.
You both,
Like
you
that
all,
howl.
yeah, you definitely all taken the scene and get a sense that you might have been duped, as this corruption on a very powerful ley line in the town begins to spread to the woods and the stream around it, and the earth itself almost seems scorched, and you all lick your wounds. And though an entity that would have dealt a lot of harm to the people in the town, Cal, you can technically mark experience because you did stop the premonition that you saw from happening, which was a success. That the manner in which maybe it was supposed to be dispelled of was
Convenient for bad people.
maybe. And the growing corruption goes, through the woods and towards the town, as you all lick your wounds and try to come to terms with everything that had happened. And
Alec would try to kick the dirt to stop the thing from growing, but that's not how it works. But-
sure
I
isn't.
move him away from the spread. If he
Yeah.
starts doing that, just like, no.
And that's what we'll close the scene is, everybody bleeding, going shit. And thanks, guys. This is a lot of fun. I got to play an evil demon for a little bit. And
Awesome.
thank you
Well,
all,
misunderstood.
everybody, for watching and sticking in there.
Awesome. Thank
I feel
you.
like Maurice wasn't. I feel like Maurice was misunderstood. Like we misunderstood his motivation, and it was super bad.
Either way.
Low
it's bad.
low telepathy roll, and
Yeah.
nobody looked into Marius. Everybody
Yeah.
just looked into the Rougarou. So I was like, all right, I'm not gonna
My character
hand
wouldn't
feed you
look into
up or
anybody.
anything.
My character wouldn't look into anybody. My character was like, "Let me see what's on Twitter." Like this.
I can't wait for you
If this
to
is going on
explain.
Twitter.
I can't wait for you to explain to your parents why your clothing is shredded and covered in blood.
I'm walking him home. You're going in the house.
Thank you.
Cal
Thing
maybe
is, the
moved.
doctor's gonna look awful as well.
Yeah, Cal maybe moved past their writer's block as some Good ideas for a future book?
I think, there are a couple. There are a couple in there. Just saying.
Yeah.
I hope I don't get grounded.
Ezra's remembering why they very seldom ever leave the copper.
Yeah, Ezra is going to make the cheapest tea in the shop and pour some rum into it and just kind of sit in the dark and quiet.
That's my kind of tea. Preparing for what things might lie ahead. And Pan is like, shit.
Yeah, I'm like, Jay's gonna kill me.
All right. Well, I think as Al says, we'll go around and tell us who you are, where we can find you, and what you got going on.
Yeah, absolutely. So we will start as we'll go reverse order. I'll do me last still, but favorite bit and where we can find you, and straight to Sophie.
Oh, awesome. So it's Sophie Faye, Faye_Sophie on Twitter and Instagram, or First Among Faye. I'm an audio drama creator of the podcast Grim and Glitter podcast about demons, goths and prep teenagers who open a door, discover demonic powers, and we love that in our daily lives.
Maybe need to add Marias to your podcast now.
Just a couple more demons, just a few. We can
Just
always
a
add
few.
more.
Always, never have enough demons.
Never enough.
What was your favorite moment?
My favorite moment, honestly, just making up the book series that I definitely knew I wrote. For sure. Chapter 5, just that line, just can't believe I wrote it. Can't believe I came up with that one,
It's almost like you had nothing to do with it at all.
It's almost like, I don't know, what can I say? It came to me.
I love it.
Still
Thank you.
over the Dust trilogy, though. Still over the Dust trilogy, just saying.
Yeah, whatever Dust trilogy, whatever.
Glittering vampires.
And then
Love to play on words with Twilight.
And then we're gonna hop over to our new favorite coffee shop owner, Zan. Oh, hi.
Yeah, like I said, I'm Zan. You can catch me on the links that I just popped into chat. Oh, Scrat just popped into chat too. Whoopsie. And I think my favorite part was at the end of the session, Ezra remembering why he retired. This is a young man's game, and he's been out of this for too long.
Too long.
And the place you can catch me is at the Black Feather Guild. I'm going to be on one of Raven's streams in about 45 minutes. So it's a marathon gaming day for me. And starting next month, I'll be running a game over on that channel as well. So if you're interested in having me DM some emotional, angsty teenage monsters for you and some Monster Hearts goodness, pop on over there and let me know, because we are still looking for players.
Awesome, thank you. And then we're gonna head over to our baseball extraordinaire, Alec. Well, true though.
But a catcher. So hi, I'm Trooper SJP, and how lovely to be here. My favorite moment, just for like the imagery and how it was played out, was when Pan, like in the very beginning, when everything's shut down, everything is frozen, and Marius has got his hands on Malik's shoulders, and just that sort of the way that Alice did it, that like Pan is just like putting down the hash brown while continuing to walk forward. Was like, no, just that kind of protectiveness of that, just like not escalating the situation, but just like, we're going to take this young child away from you right now. And it was just so well done. And what was great about it was that Pan was just a little dangerous in the best way. Like, you knew at that moment that Pan was like this powerful figure that was just not gonna let anything bad happen. And it was very cool. It was very cool. I loved it.
What's her tea, damn it. I came in here just my tea and my breakfast, and there's this demon walking in and ruining my breakfast.
And you can find me at Trooper SJP. That's my Twitch channel, or Academic Foxhole on Twitter. And if you want to see me doing something right now, I have got the season 1 finale of The Witcher over on Tales from the Grim tomorrow at 8, and I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll probably be bad. And I have an ongoing French Resistance campaign using Fate on Fridays on my channel at 7 p.m. and it's super intense if you like intense shows set during World War II in occupied Paris. That's me.
I love it. I love it. And before I sign off with all the other bits and bobs, I'm going to hand over to our Alpha briefly. Where can we find you?
Well, awoo, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us throughout this horrific adventure. I'm Kaya Gaston. You can find me on the Twitter sphere at Crit Charisma. I thought I was really funny when I made that, and I'm never getting rid of it. I every week, it is such a joy to run this game. I love Monster of the Week. I love the horror genre. Growing up with Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel, and those Monster of the Week TV shows that spawned the Monster of the Week game, just makes me so happy. I was really excited to be able to, through premonition, be able to like have somebody eat somebody. I know that sounds gross, but I was really excited about it. But every week, my favorite thing is just being able to play with all you wonderful players and seeing what you all do with this world that we've created. Silver Hollow is one of my babies, and I love it so much. Werewolves are amazing, and I love them so much. So thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, players, for another amazing week and these fantastic characters that made me laugh, made me cringe, made me do everything. I love them all, and I can't wait to see what next week brings. So Alice, take it away.
Yes. I'm Alice. I'm also White Rabbit Pick on Twitter. You can check out all my photography stuff in the links coming up soon. I will be DMing on some other channels as well as this one. Keep an eye out for the announcements over there. Exciting stuff. Otherwise, my favorite bit is definitely the Cal and Malik, in chapter like 5 when this and like, but then if vampires do this and that, and then getting Pan to go and ask, like, be subtle about asking these questions, and then you've just got Ezra chill at the back, like there with like his 12th cup of tea as he sat there watching the whole thing. But yeah, anyway.
Like Ezra knows real magic, and I'm sure it's like these books are trash. These books are the most trash ever.
Try to push.
Like,
listen, just read a nonfiction.
He's there at night
garbage.
going wrong. As he goes through the bag. But anyway, yes, please check out the links coming up in chat. That includes the Discord. We have a chat just for this, so we'd love to hear what you think. Also, Twitter, if you want to get in this game or any of the other viewer games, you can go drop Scrat a DM on Twitter and get in one of those. If you missed anything, you can catch up over on YouTube, where we have everything in playlists. And a huge, wonderful thank you to our sponsors, who we could not do this without, in the form of Hero Forge. Go check out their minis. They're seriously awesome and really detailed, and the coloring is amazing. Mage Hand Press, you can check out their Fey Folio tomorrow, which is another viewer game. The Deck of Many, the Deck of Many Things, and the Magic Moving Skull cards, as well as their very awesome Humblewood. And last but certainly not least, our brand new sponsor, Dungeon Fog, which help you with all of your note keeping and world map needs and altering it together and working collaboratively together. Otherwise, we'll see you back on the channel. I think it's like half an hour, but keep evoking emotions, and we'll see you then. Bye.
Oh.
Yay.
Well, what a bunch of fun, everyone. Oh my goodness, all of that good werewolf activity. We are gonna be back in around 40 minutes with our next show of the evening, Rotting Shadows in D&D 5e, a complete homebrew by Witherbrick Ray. So, we hope that you'll join us. We very much look forward to seeing you, and until next time, keep on evoking emotions.